Good afternoon, I'm Novia McDonald Whyte, and with 24 hours to go before World Sustainable Gastronomy Day, we invite you to, take a look at what some of our local restaurateurs have in store for you. So we'll be going to them shortly, but just in case you have not yet, and you still have until the end of the day to read the Jamaica Observer food pages, to with a gorgeous double truck spread in there about World Sustainable Day, which is observed tomorrow, Friday, June the 18th. But, this is the warm-up, the preamble to it all. The day acknowledges gastronomy as a means of expression related to the natural and cultural diversity of the world. In other words, the kitchen where all cultures get together in that one pot. It also reaffirms that all cultures and civilizations are contributors and crucial enablers of sustainable development. In observance of this year's World Sustainable Gastronomy Day, the Tourism Linkages Network, a division of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, uses the opportunity to highlight a few of our local restaurants that have created special menu items to be included in the Taste Jamaica World Sustainable Gastronomy Day experience. This will include specially curated local menu items from farm to table. Our local restaurants have made a great effort to showcase how sustainable gastronomy, food security, good nutrition, sustainable food production, and conservation of biodiversity. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Lisa Binns from Stush in the Bush, Thalia Lynn, Island Grill, Michelle Rousseau, Summer House. I'm not seeing Gary. Gary's supposed to be here, Gary or Ferguson, from the Rib Cage, but I'm sure he'll be back in a few minutes. If you are not already a culinary business owner and you've not signed up, if you are and you've not signed up, get listed on the Taste Jamaica website and mobile app and be a part of Jamaica's numerous culinary options that are available all year. So get a copy of your Jamaica Observer newspaper if you're in the business of food and sign up. You'll be happy that you did. Here's Gary, but the conversation kicks off at Summer House with Michelle Rousseau, who will speak to, why Sustainable Gastronomy Day is important to her, her establishment, the measures that she has in place, and finally, there's a delicious kale salad that she has prepared and will speak to. Hi, Michelle, how are you?
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Thank
As
you.
always.
So over to you. Why is Sustainable Gastronomy Day important to you?
I think sustainability is, in essence, the sort of the future of all businesses, especially in a post-COVID era. I do feel that it's important to recognize, especially in the third world, that our natural resources are not infinite. And if we don't care them, and if we don't honor the ecosystem that we inherited and value, the food supply chain and all of the elements and pieces that spill out from that, that you're creating a paradigm that in the long run can damage not only the potential for your country to grow, but also for individual businesses to thrive. Because once you sort of disrupt that natural ecosystem, you get into a situation that leads to shortages in supply and so on and so forth. So being sustainable has many pieces to it for us. We are not sort of an organic focused restaurant per se. We have developed a narrative in our environment around culture and history and legacy. And so the value of our food culture is a part of how we choose to tell our story. But I think there are little practical things that as a restaurateur, whether you are large or a small owner, that you can do. And some of those we have incorporated from the outset. Obviously, the first piece is that you're focused as much as possible on local suppliers. But I think it's important to supply and resource from within your community. so that you are not only sharing business opportunities and developing business opportunities for the people of your community, but you're also, supplying yourself with resources that are close to home, wherever possible. And we like to think of it for sort of start local and sort of expand out. So if we can't get it in St. Mary or Ocho Rios, then we can go out a little further and we can go out. And if we can't get it in Jamaica, we're going to look in the Caribbean. And if we can't get it in the Caribbean, we're going to expand to Latin America and go out that way. Because I think by doing that, what you're creating is a sort of a value chain that will always serve you and will also serve the community and the people that are around you. So small fishermen, fresh local catch, availability based off of what they have. Seasonal, which is, something that, we don't have seasons per se in Jamaica, but we do have things that come in and out of. And so staying in alignment with that, particularly if you're serving meat and seafood dishes. And I think it's also important to balance portion of animal product to vegetable, so that you're touching on all of the elements of sustainability there. And we also do we have a very low waste kitchen. We try to have a zero waste kitchen, but sometimes that's not possible. So anything left over, we tend to sort of, make them into things that we can use in the bar, like cordials, or, we make a rose syrup for our some of our cocktails that things like that we if we use something and we have it in the space, we try to incorporate all of the pieces. We'll take the rind from the orange and make a marmalade and so on and so forth. So I mean, that's really where I think we are, and we are happy to do so. We put on the menu for Sustainability Day our kale salad.
Yes.
We get kale from a really wonderful farm near to us called Golden Duchy Farms. And we have in that, instead of using, say, dried cranberries, we candy sorrel buds to make it sort of give you that kick of a sweet. So reduce the sorrel down and let them dry, and make them into the candied sorrel. We put some quinoa in there, which is not local, but again, it's regional. Toasted pepitas, which is pumpkin seeds, and then we'll top it with a little bit of goat cheese. And it's hearty, very delicious, healthy. It's a ginger lime vinaigrette, perfect for a hot Jamaican summer.
Do you think that people, I mean, it's just recently, and we do have to acknowledge the Ministry of Tourism Enhancement Fund and the Tourism Linkages Network, that people are now, hearing a lot more about, days like World Sustainable Gastronomy Day. Do you think, okay, it sounds banal, but, is it a good thing?
Absolutely. I think the more awareness, I think people have come to feel that something like organic or sustainable or artisan is remote and not accessible.
Yes.
And it's something you see in like a gourmet store that's more expensive than what you would see in the regular store. And I think the more you have a conversation around what that really means is the sooner you're able to get everybody on board, because they'll recognize it's, the amount of people that say to me that they don't eat as much vegetables because it's more expensive to eat vegetables. Is it really though? It really just depends on how and where you're buying your vegetables. If you're going to buy imported vegetables, yes, it may be more expensive. And I know prices fluctuate with markets and availability and weather and all of that. But I think that it is a story or that people believe because maybe they've just not been exposed to it from a perspective that is a lot more accessible, which is sustainability is not just about, one piece. It's about all of the pieces. It's about all of from the farming, from the origin of the product to the end product. And that can happen at every level of the food chain. It doesn't have to be, a summer house. It can be with a guy who's serving pan chicken, or it can be a farmer and how he's getting his seeds. And, so it's not only one element of it, I think.
Thank you for that. So at Summer House tomorrow, which is the official day, the kale salad, all ingredients are sustainably sourced from local farmers in St. Mary, is garnished with fresh candied sorrel buds, toasted pumpkin seeds, and local goat cheese. It's a satisfying, filling, and healthy recipe from Provisions, the cookbook. penned by Michelle and her sister Suzanne, an easy and satisfying alternative for lunch. You can visit Summer House in Harmony Hall, which is in St. Mary, to enjoy this delectable dish and lots more for World Gastronomy Day, which, a reminder, is tomorrow. We move from St. Mary to Stush in the Bush and welcome Lisa Binns. Lisa's had a busy 24 hours. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, Novia. It's nice to see you again.
Again? Again? I wonder where we were yesterday. Okay.
I know. I'm just having this small chat between the time of guests. We actually have guests who are out in the farm currently. So it's actually really applicable to
Yes.
World Sustainable Gastronomy Day, because for us, it is every day. That's every day, every day. So for us right now, we have been, farming. Chris is farming, and lots of things are coming in on the farm currently. So when you come to dine with us at Stush in the Bush, it's all about, yes, local, but it's also, as much as it can be, about what we are doing on farm. So the two things that we have that are on the menu for this week for World Gastronomy Day is the arugula salad and the mulberry cheesecake, which is a raw cheesecake. So I'll talk a little bit about those in a little bit. But one of the things that I do want to say is that sustainability for me is all about seasonality. And for us, that means what season is happening on the farm. So today is the first day that we are actually serving Otahiti apple juice, because we have so many apples that are coming in on the farm. We've been having ginger beer for the longest time now, because we have ginger beer that is ginger that's coming in on the farm. So it is for us about what is coming in and what we can use, and how we sort of see that playing out in the menus that we're doing. So anytime that you come up to us, it's no guarantee that you're going to get the same thing consistently. You oftentimes are going to have different things based upon what we have that's coming in. And like Michelle, or like Summer House, I should say, we also really try to practice a zero waste policy. So even today, we're serving a jackfruit seed hummus, and we have jackfruit ice cream and all of that, because we have jackfruit that's coming in on the farm. So the connection between the farm and food is critical for us. We are self-professed locavores, which means that we love to have all things local, as in so much as it is possible. And yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. We do try to also work within a certain region if we are going to buy from other farmers, or because obviously this takes a lot more than just us doing this. If we have lots of folk coming during the course of the week, then that means that we have to think about possibly getting from other farmers as well to supplement our own supply, which happens from time to time as well. Right now on the farm, we've got carrots coming in, we have beets coming in, we have watermelon radish, arugula, apples, jackfruit, sugarcane, ginger, quite a lot of things. So it's really a wonderful experience to be able to take those things and turn them into something that's like a culinary masterpiece, or something that people are going to enjoy.
So how do your guests react to that element of surprise, not quite knowing what they're going to have on any given day?
I think it's a great way to do things. I think it puts a lot of pressure on us, though, because if you have something that you're running consistently, it's a little bit different from if every day you're having the conversation about, okay, what are we going to do today? So I think it's a little harder on the kitchen, but I think it's a really great surprise for guests. And I think we do try to maintain some things that are staples, like plantain chips or sweet potato chips or dasheen, which is taro in the rest of the world, right? So we do try to maintain particular things that people are accustomed to having. And then we try to also give them something that's like a surprise based on what we have that's coming in. And I think their reaction is actually quite good because I think they come up knowing that they're not going to know anything and the entire thing is a surprise. So they actually react really well to that. And I think that way they don't have the angst about, oh, I don't want to have this or I'm not going to try that. You know, it gives them an opportunity to kind of open up their world. And oftentimes when people say to you that they don't like something, it's generally because of the way that it's been historically prepared. So if you do things a little bit differently, I think people have a different reaction to it. And I think that oftentimes they're surprised that they actually might like it.
That's very true. So, from Stush in the Bush tomorrow, which is a reminder, June 18th, World Sustainable Gastronomy Day, you can look forward to an arugula salad, watermelon radish, Stush vegan feta cheese, sweet orange beluga lentils as caviar, nice, and the live mulberry cheesecake. From the
really great. Melon radish are something that is unique to us. We've been growing them now for a good couple of years. They are actually also called red meat because they actually have a touch of that meatiness. It just sort of depends on how you're going to prepare them. We do them two different ways. We offer them raw within the salad where you can see the pink on the inside and the white and green shoulders. They're a bit sweeter than regular radishes and it's just lovely to have. They're just beautiful to look at. And then we also do it as an herbed radish salad, which means that they have a dressing on them. Right now we're actually using a sesame vinaigrette on top of them. And then they also have a hit of fresh herbs, which to me is the way to finish everything. So it's a blend of mint and parsley and chives all together on there, and then also some toasted seeds. And for this salad, the arugula is actually an heirloom seed. So it is, all of our seeds actually come from high mowing seeds in Vermont, and they are all organic and non-GMO, and we tend to do well with heirloom seeds. So the arugula is actually a civetta. It's not a sativa, which is the lobed arugula that you normally see. So this is much more spiky. And then the segmented orange, local oranges. The feta is a real great experiment for us that has turned out really, really well. It is an almond feta, so it is non-dairy, and it has that same profile, the same kind of tanginess, the saltiness. It's just really wonderful, and we've been really happy with it. So putting that together with the little beluga lentils and just a little bit of shallots also from the farm are in there too. So it's really quite lovely. The mulberry cheesecake, when mulberries are in season, so many things that you can do, but we use them as a cheesecake topper. The base of that is dates and almonds and pecans, walnuts, a little coconut, and dark chocolate. And then the filling is cashews, and it also has lime juice and a little bit of coconut cream and what else? Agar. So the agar kind of like helps it hold up a little bit because we are in such a hot country that we have to kind of take those things into consideration. And I don't want the cheesecake to melt. So it's something that we sort of add at the end and sort of warm it up to get it to that kind of a consistency. And then it's topped with mulberries. We also do a mulberry coulis that goes in there as well to sort of like keep everything together. And then we zest some fresh lemon on the top and add some beautiful mint because you always eat with your eyes first. And it's wonderful because those things have been picked fresh from the farm. So we're totally enjoying all of that at all times.
Well, just when you thought that World Sustainable Gastronomy Day was about boring food, not too sure, but I'm like starving right now. Thank you very much, Lisa. We move from the live mulberry cheesecake, Gary Ferguson, to the rib cage grill, fire-kissed pumpkin with ruby chèvre goat cheese and roasted pumpkin seeds. Gary, what's your take on why is Sustainable Day important to you, and what measures have you put in place before we get to your pumpkin, which I like the fact that it's available all year round?
Okay, well, Novia, being in the meat side of the industry for so long, a lot of times the question always come up, how long can this last, or with all the concerns, all the issues with, what is happening as far as animal, you know, animal protein and the processing of it and all of that. So we kind of took a little different approach with a new side of our restaurant, and that is coal fire. So that is actually now a new arm of ribcage that we're now all about more healthier, sustainable items. And we are doing more or less large format roasting of vegetables. So whereas your average restaurant or most restaurants will do a portion of something, we try to do like family style portions of these items. And essentially, we're looking at beets. We're looking at anything that's seasonal and anything that's out of the ground. So we have a lovely wood and gas burning oven that we just installed. So we're actually putting all this stuff in that lovely wood and gas burning oven and just making them the best versions of themselves. And that is pretty much what we're doing to kind of change the the conversation when people are talking about the rib cage. And with coal fire, we're going to bring that whole new sustainable. And also, we're trying not to use imported things there at all, any at all. So hence, the pumpkin, the beets, a lot of things that we actually have in the earth here. We're going to try and see how we can manipulate them with fire, nothing else, and just make it a really interesting and sustainable menu in general. So that is what we are doing on our side as far as sustainability and what are we doing to change, and improve what we're doing. People want to eat healthier, and we have taken that into consideration. And it's kind of hard to come to a rib place and say, okay, all right, we have 10 salads for you, and people don't come to ribcage for that. So coal fire was our new interpretation of what fire kissed and hugged by smoked is, and smoked items. All that now is actually going to be on the plant-based side, with some seafood, of course.
So the meat is no longer king at ribcage, is what you're saying?
Well, the meat will always be king at the ribcage, but at coal fire, the farm and vegetables and a lot of the ground provisions and all of that. Yeah, that is going to be now the king at coal fire. Okay. So we didn't want to confuse our customers, although there will be some confusion initially when people say, "Oh, I'm going to the rib cage. I heard they're doing something with vegetables." People are going to be like, "Wow, okay, let's see what that is about." So the new concept is actually called Coal Fire. It's a quaint little place right next door. We are really geared towards more a customer experience. You come in, you book a table for 8 or 10, and we do like courses of just some lovely food out of our oven. So everything is cooked out of the oven, no stove top, nothing like that. Not even a grill. If it's grilled, it's going to be like grilled within the oven. So it's a whole new way of cooking for me, for sure. But yeah, everything will be coming out of that oven from starter to dessert.
Why did you
choose? And it will be a customer experience for now, yeah.
Why did you choose I like the fact that you said that the pumpkin is available all year round. But tell us about your choice of the fire-kissed pumpkin for World Gastronomy Day.
Well, pumpkin is something very, very important to the Jamaican diet. But we always tend to see it in very I would want to say pedestrian ways that is being utilized. And we figured that why not try and elevate this product or this produce that people tend to just steam, or they throw it in water and boil it. A lot of times when people are preparing pumpkin, they don't put a whole lot of effort or thought into it. It's just like it's pumpkin, and it is what it is. So we are actually trying to make the pumpkin make it shine. Let it be the best version of itself. So what we do now, we try and find the nicest pumpkins when they're in peak season, which is usually all year round in Jamaica. Because there are some little areas times where you can't get as nice a pumpkin as you'd want. But, for the most part, it's always available. So essentially, we just wanted to just highlight that, and also just to show people that, look, a pumpkin can be a main course. It can be a star of the meal, just like a piece of fish, just like a steak, anything like that. We paired it with Ruby Goat, who's doing some lovely goat cheese out of Trelawney. Again, local, again, sustainable, and also fresh, most importantly.
Right.
So what happens is that when you're getting fresh stuff out of the ground, and you're actually, especially like pumpkin, when you're getting lovely fresh pumpkin, we're doing our seasoning with it, we let it rest, we give it our 2-stage cooking, then we finish it in that lovely 900-degree oven. Let me tell you, it's totally transformed. And then, of course, the pumpkin seeds are there that gives that nuttiness. And, I say it's a new area for us, but we're going to put, 200% effort behind it to make, all of these farm items like totally kicked up and but in a large format way. So we can feed 5 or 6 or 8 persons with a dish.
Well, we look forward to the coal fire at the rib cage. Thank you very much. We move across to Island Grill, where for World Sustainable Gastronomy Day, Thalia, there's Go-Lite jerk chicken, steamed vegetables, and corn. We have long gone to Island Grill, truth be told, and enjoyed a lot more vegetables, right? So, have you gone one step further or 3 feet further?
Are you asking me if we're putting more vegetable dishes?
That's
like
right.
Gary?
Are we going to have more vegetables and more chicken together? I mean, Gary has, told us that, the pumpkin might very well replace the ribs.
Novia, we do believe in eat what you grow and grow what you eat. And
yes.
You grew us. I mean, when Jamaicans say that their mother grew them or this auntie grew them, Novia grew us because you had faith in us when we were competing against the big internationals. And we have small farmers who have been with us for as long as we've been in existence. So our meals, Michelle talks about balancing meat and veggies. The Go-Lite balances that in that you do get the quarter chicken. You can get steamed or fresh veg. The reason we had to go to steam is because we couldn't get fresh veg all the time. Luckily this year we haven't had drought. But the choices of vegetables nowadays as well. I mean, pak choy, and as Gary says, pumpkin. I can't grow like Lisa, not when we have 15 odd restaurants. I mean, COVID reduced us from 18 to 15, but it doesn't mean we won't reopen. And we do have 2 on the drawing board. But it is a matter of supporting our small farmers who have to be part of this sustainability that we're talking about. Because jerk is not considered a gastronomical type of a menu item in Jamaica, but I think everywhere else in the world, it's really considered something exotic. And we should be proud of the fact that this is where it grew up. This is where it started. And, if I'm not mistaken, Michelle must have a jerk item at Summer House. I guess I've been so busy trying our salads that I haven't looked. I mean, I haven't been to Stush recently too, since they've revamped. And Gary, don't leave out the jerk. I mean, when you go your veggie way, please don't leave out the jerk, because I do believe that in supporting what is local, it has to be part of the products that the local people put on the market as well. Our Go-Lite is 500 calories. We're still watching calories for people who want to count calories. So some of those veggie dishes that you people talk about have more calories than my Go-Lite, because you have all those goodies in there.
Yeah.
And we can't fancy up the food, but we can make the comfort food a lot more appealing in so many ways. So, I'm glad we have focus on food for one day at least, but I do think that focus is forever. It's always there. Food is something that you don't need a World International Gastronomy Day, maybe to bring Jamaican food more into focus, but
Yeah.
food will always be there.
I couldn't agree with you more. And are people still counting calories, Thalia? I love the fact that, I saw it as well, 500 calories, and I was like, okay. So are people still counting calories?
They are. And sometimes they even give us a hard time because, like they're saying, are you going to start to air fry the festival? Because you fry it in oil and, that adds to the calories. They do watch the calories in some of we were the first ones who realized that the fruit juices were starting to outsell sodas, even though they had just as much calories. People didn't realize that there was just as much sugar. So we had started to work with our suppliers through juice to tell them, look, can you cut down on, that's why we came up with that green juice, because it had less calories and it's all fresh veggies that were used. I know when we launched it, True Juice said that we created a string bean shortage in the market because they didn't expect that it would do so well. And it's something that we always have on the menu, and it's a more reasonable price than if you go into a juice bar, mainly because it is mass produced. But I would say it has the same, if you look at the way it's processed, it doesn't have additives, so it's just as healthy. And this is what everybody is watching: health, additives, organic. Those are all they have been buzzwords for a long time.
Am I hearing you? Sorry, have you,
Did you miss me?
did we lose you or?
No, I'm still here.
Oh,
I think
okay,
my
okay. No, I
connectivity might be a little
I
bad.
thought we lost you. Let me go back to your Go Light jerk chicken, right? Your 500 calories, your spices, your authentic Jamaican flavor, right? Do you think that your patrons tomorrow, for example, World Gastronomy Day, when your patrons step into Island Grill, how will they be greeted? Will you be speaking about your Go Light jerk chicken? Do you think there'll be more push towards that?
Well, if we, as I said, Novia, jerk is not really considered a gastronomical menu item in Jamaica. Everywhere else in the world it is. But because we have the digital menu board, we will have it flashing across the board and promoting it. The fact that we use fresh, never frozen chicken. Our chicken suppliers are advertising that there are no antibiotics used on their chickens. The vegetables are all supplied by small farmers. We have small farmers, as I said, who have been with us from day one, and it has even reached to a generational kind of space where it's the son now who has taken over from the father and actually it doesn't even have to be the son. There are women in farming that I'm proud to say as well. So all our vegetables are fresh. I was out watching cabbage come into the commissary yesterday because there was a lady farmer who I wanted to congratulate because the Jamaica Agricultural Society had given me a Phenomenal Woman Award. And I took that award and I gave it to her. And I said, it's because of you that I got this award, because I don't really have anything to do with farming, but it's because I support small farmers like you. And she was just so thrilled. But when I stood there watching her, she was with my quality people going through the cabbage, making sure that there are no insects, worms, whatever. And they look so good. I mean, our farmers have come a long way where they used to deliver in open back pickups. And they're now, learning that they have to bring it straight from the farm to us if they do not have refrigerated trucks. Everybody's learning in this business. I think you have watched me grow, right?
We have watched you grow, and keep frying the festivals. Don't put them in the air fryer yet. Michelle, Michelle, let me go back. Let me go back to you. Is it? I mean, Thalia raised some interesting points, but do you think that we need to pay attention to World Sustainable Gastronomy Day, or should we? I mean, why bother?
I do in a way, because I think the purpose of the day is more to value the same kinds of things Thalia is talking about. Value the sort of under-recognized, aspects of a food culture in a place.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, everybody knows jerk, but there are other things that would be of value on a day like this that could be showcased. Someone could be talking about plut or pakasa or dukunu or like anything like that. It doesn't, gastronomy doesn't necessarily mean fine dining or anything like
Exactly.
that. What gastronomy
Yes.
really to me embodies is that everything in the place is embodied in the food culture. So you see that a lot more in Europe than you would see it here, because they have sort of identified regions and then quantified what that item is that's coming from that region. And here is the standard that you have to meet to qualify as Parma ham or champagne from the Champagne region, or cognac from the cognac region. But when you go to that place, everything about the culture of that space revolves around. So from the farmer to the restaurant to the customer to the residents, there's a pride, there's a knowledge, there's an understanding of its legacy, its history. It's sort of rooted in these traditions of artisans from times gone by that have been brought forward and modernized. And now, yes, they're traveling not in open back trucks, but refrigerated trucks. Mm-hmm. Yes, they've modernized how they're processing the ham in some way, but they've retained a certain authenticity. And I think we need that in Jamaica. I do think so. I think, you have on this panel a sort of a diverse representation of different faces of the food scene here. Ribcage is like one of Jamaica's first and best, meat and steak and stuff restaurants. And, was always, before everybody else, cooking over flame and fire with wood and so on and so forth. Island Grill has sort of iconized something that we already knew in a way that is so modern and accessible to everybody, but also as good a product, as well packaged, as well branded as any other fast food.
Yes.
And with Stush, I mean, they just revolutionized how we see vegetables and brought the narrative to a different place about how you eat local and fresh and from your farm. So I think this is like a minor example of the range in Jamaica of the independent, individual identity, personality, culture, and legacy of each business. And so to talk about gastronomy for me is really, and sustainability is really about pushing the focus on a more public way that everyone starts to understand what that means. So that if you are a small farmer that goes to the farmer's market in St. Mary every Friday to sell your produce, you understand that there is a global standard you can try to, ascend to meet the values of what other farmers in the world are doing. And I think it's just about a conversation really around all of the elements of the food chain and all of the elements of a culture and cuisine and a place and what and how you present that to yourselves first and then to the world,
I think that's really important, how you present it to yourselves first. So I'll go back to Thalia, whose Island Grill was presented to us first, beautifully packaged, right? As you said, could pass muster anywhere. So Thalia, the artisans you have seen, you have spoken about the growth of our farmers. In fact, we've had webinars and we've heard from young people who are now going into the industry, who are now farming and with a more scientific approach to farming. Yes, and definitely looking more at cash crops. Because when you first opened the doors of Island Grill, your focus was, as it still is, on jerk, right? jerk is, as far as I'm concerned, it's still it's sustainable. It's as fantastic as sitting and having Gary's best lamb chops or whatever for dinner. But tell us about the first time you decided that your jerk chicken was going to share space, and not just space, but real space with vegetables. Because, that must have been an interesting conversation. I remember the first time going, getting the box and, you see corn, you see pumpkin. You were like, okay.
Well, what it is we wanted to incorporate more Jamaican type foods. And to be honest, when the first meal that we put a little veggies into was a yaba, where we had yaba, fricassee chicken and curry chicken. And to just complete the meal, we put a little bit of veggies. And then people said, well, we want more vegetables. So we now have a good portion of vegetables in all the meals. We also realized that, like pumpkin, it's a superfood. So many of our good ground provisions are superfoods. We tried to add more of that, but then we started to have problems with supply as well. Because, when you have a large, if you're not growing your own, like Lisa is, you have trouble with supplies. And to try and get our farmers to diversify, it's a big change. So what we've been doing is we make sure that all of those things are in the soups. So we have a little bit of corn, we have yam, we have pumpkin, we tried to put okra in there. They didn't like the okra, so we took the okra out. So it's really been trial and error. And I mean, okra is such a superfood. I love it. And we even tried to add it on some of our breakfast menus, but we're still big believers in Jamaican fruit, vegetables, and ground provisions. We got pushback about, oh, you're supposed to be healthy. Why are you giving us so much carbs? And that's when we actually came up with the calorie count, Novia, because we wanted to show people that you can have it if you want. And we do have things like plantain. I don't think you can have a Jamaican meal without plantain.
Absolutely.
So we have it, you have a choice, green or ripe plantain. Right now we have a plantain box going. Like how you do chicken on fries, it's plantain and fish or chicken. So we're trying to stay within. We have to be still quick service because that's what we're thought of. But we can't diversify the menu too much because then that slows down the service.
Yes.
So we're trying to use what we have in the store already and maybe broaden the menu a little, or every once in a while offer value meals like the plantain box right now, because green plantain is very popular. And it's a Jamaican staple. And the Cubans love it. I forget what they call it, tostitos. But it's the same thing like yucca. So we have all kinds of opportunities. If you think about it, Novia, when we travel, the first thing we want to try is street food. You go anywhere, and this is how we started. We thought jerk was street food. How do we make it even more popular and bring it into a quick service kind of an environment? And we've managed so far. We'd like to take it further, so next generation can do that.
We look forward. Gary, the coal fire, will we see plantains on the coal fire? Tell us a bit more about the coal fire.
Well, what will happen with coal fire is that because we are trying to focus on large format roasting, and that is only because the oven has such large capacity that we could cook 6 whole pumpkins in there, I mean, so we have such large capacity, we figure that we want to take advantage of it. Yeah, things like plantain, you're going to see that, I mean, a lot. You'll see plantain stuffed with different things, plantain stuffed with roasted pumpkin and roasted. Like, you're going to see some interesting things.
So are these orders?
Every day we're learning more. And yeah, I say it's a new thing for me. So so it's like a new toy. So, I look forward to getting in, behind those counters and actually creating some new items.
So
For
how
me,
will your
just like Thalia is utilizing all the local vegetables and all that in different ways, and the rice and all of that. It's the same thing that to make what we're doing more sustainable, we have to now find other ways to make our food last us a little longer. So during
ah
the season, we need to now start pickling pumpkin. We need to start pickling beets. We need to start teaching farmers how to do it so they can have a little value added thing. So Michelle might say, okay, you know what? This person might have a lot of beets, and they said, you know what? I also have the pickled version, and I'm sure she would buy it. I'm sure Taylor would buy it and put it in their salads. So if we can show the farmers how to even get a little value added, sustain, preserve some of what they're growing when it's in peak season, things like tomatoes. In Italy, you have places that have tomatoes like Roma tomatoes, that they put in a smokehouse, and those things last for 3 months. I don't know what the smoke do to it, but I know it wards off any pests and all of that. So there are like different practices all over the world. Recently, we did this last week, I did the International Gastronomy Forum with Agro Paris in France. And essentially, what they're doing now, they're even going as far as doing a thing they call note by note cooking. I want everyone to research it, because they're actually doing some phenomenal work. They're now actually doing food compounds, right? And I know it may sound like some high science, but the whole idea is that if you're going to feed the world, we have to find a way that we can take dried stuff, leave it somewhere, and all you have to do is add
add
water to
water?
it and get like nourishment. So this is where they are now, note by note cooking. So they'll have like 15 different compounds that you put together. And let me tell you, they have restaurants now that do note by note dinners, and you're blown away by the food that comes out of it. I mean, nothing looks like chicken in there because it's not chicken and it's not this, but there's nothing artificial about it. So these are the things that people are doing, and yeah, there's a lot of focus on it. But if we could just get our vegetables from the farm, or the farmers doing more preservation, teaching them how to, make their crop more valuable and sustainable by way of preservation, that would be a big boost to them and to us, because I know I'd buy it.
Well, certainly conversations like this, I'm sure the farmers are listening and they are heartened because, you know, it's good to know that people want their crops, and that's important, right? So I think the more you engage, you know, you certainly can, you know, teach additional skills. So I'm sure we look forward to even, you know, further conversations, you know, as a result of our focus today on World Sustainable Gastronomy Day, which again is tomorrow. When all is said and done, what's one thing, and I'm going to ask all of you, I think Lisa's gone to her, from Stush in the Bush has gone to her guests, but what is one thing that you'd like every single person watching this, every farmer listening, or just people just kind of, you know, bored, so they're saying, like, okay, what's World Bloody Sustainable Gastronomy Day? What's one takeaway that you'd like people to take away from this conversation, Michelle? We'll start with you, then we'll go to Thalia, and we'll give Gary the final word. What's the one takeaway?
I think in Jamaica, it has to be about natural resources and the environment. I think we feel, because we live in a lush landscape, that it's just never ending. And when you can always get water from the river, and you can do this and you can do that, and you can abuse the ecosystem, and that we will always have what we have. I think it's really important that people recognize, all people, you know, that even throwing a bottle out of a window when you're driving, or whatever, or anything like that, you know, how you dispose of your batteries or simple things like that. I think it is important. While I know this is about food, those things impact how we produce our food, and the water supply, and the water and all the things that we get off of the land are impacted by our individual personal actions. So we can talk about it at a theoretical level, But on a personal level, we need to embody these practices ourselves, or we cannot shift or change and maintain the beauty of the landscape, which is what has made Jamaica, partly, not all, that has made Jamaica so special.
Thank you. Thalia, your one.
I agree. Yes, no, I agree with Michelle and Novia, the environment. If the farmers in particular, because all our food, whether
Yes.
you're farming meat or vegetables, it comes from the environment. And if we don't take care of the environment, droughts and floods don't happen just because. It comes because we're not taking care of what we have inherited, what is there. And it will, as Michelle says, it won't be there forever if we don't take care of it. It's like everything else. Your skin, if you don't take care of it, is going to shrivel up. The environment is going to just shrivel up and disappear. Look at Haiti with no trees. Please take care of our environment.
Yes. And the last word from you, Gary.
The takeaway I would love to see everyone get from what we're discussing here is start to grow some food. What would be lovely if we had some kind of initiative where if people would just grow what they can grow in their different regions, we could actually set up something, through RADA or so, where we could have a food exchange. So it's like a big thing where you just bring what you grow from your garden and you exchange it for the things you don't have. Just as an exercise, so that people understand, because I think that will help, to kind of build wealth, but not wealth in the sense of money, but feeding their families. So if I had 10 pumpkins and I brought it to the thing, just as an exercise, it's a start,
It is a start, and it's a start and it's an end to our conversation today that we've had. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Thank you very much, Michelle Rousseau from Summer House. Just a reminder that tomorrow, and I think for the weekend, the kale salad is on the menu, so you can enjoy the kale salad there. All the ingredients are sustainably sourced from local farmers in St. Mary. From Island Grill, go light jerk chicken, steamed vegetables and corn. From the Rib Cage, fire-kissed pumpkin with Ruby's chèvre goat cheese and roasted pumpkin seeds. From Stush in the Bush, arugula salad, watermelon radish, Stush vegan feta cheese, sweet orange beluga lentils, and a live mulberry cheesecake. These are all the things on offering. And don't forget, tomorrow is actually the day that we celebrate. Be aware of what's going on around you. Do look out for posts on the TEF website, that's the Tourism Enhancement Fund website, and the social media pages, and also the Jamaica Observer pages, because tomorrow, the actual day, Gastronomy Day, we will be giving away, courtesy of Island Grill, quite a few vouchers for the Go Light jerk chicken. So, because it's light and it's 500 calories, you might want to eat more, but you'll only be able to win one voucher per person. So do join us tomorrow as we go light, and do press pause tomorrow and contemplate your environment. That was the last word that's left by all of these panelists here. Look around you, and start being a lot more aware of what's on your plate, and, as they all said, how it got on the plate. You've had great conversation as to how it went from farm to your plate. Thank you very much. And thanks a lot, as usual, to the Ministry of Tourism, TEF, and Tourism Linkages Network. Good afternoon. Thanks, guys.